Okay. Hi, Jordan. Thanks so much for joining
Hi,
us.
thank you for having me. So, hello, everybody. My name is Jordan Schick. I am a Potomac local. I graduated from Syracuse University as a television, radio, and film major in 2020 at the height of the pandemic. I minored in psychology, and this is my experience being a Jew on campus.
Great. I'm glad to hear that you have successfully graduated, and hopefully things will be looking up by next year. But
Yes,
tell us a
for
little bit
sure.
about Jewish life at Syracuse and sort of what engagement, if any, you had with opportunities on campus.
Right. So, for those who don't know, Syracuse is in upstate New York. It is, a very large campus. It could be as big as however many people you want to surround your circle in. I grew up going to not a Jewish school. My friends were Jewish. Some of my friends weren't Jewish, but I wanted to keep my Jewish heritage around in my life as prevalent as I could make it. So, for also those who don't know, Syracuse has a very high Jewish population. So it was easy for me to find close friends who had the same values as me, same religious views. So things that I found that were very helpful were Chabad. And personally, I liked Chabad the most because they were very just always there for you, kind of like a second parent almost.
Mhm.
And versus Hillel, where they were more, you can come when you want, it's all up to you, which was great and such a good opportunity if you want to start, kind of smaller. But I was more comfortable with Chabad because I did like the very family-esque aspect. They had their kids there, they had all their cousins. It was just a very family run, cohesive knit group. So starting freshman year, I fasted for Passover, and I really kind of Passover. Did I rush for
Gonna
Passover? No, I rushed for Yom Kippur.
say.
So
Mm.
I rushed for Yom Kippur, and it was my first fast not being at home, so it was not as easy for me to be disciplined, but I made it through, and all I wanted to do was just have a very good home cooked Jewish feast for me to engorge myself at. So when I went to Chabad, I had all the staples. I had kogel, I had brisket, I had matzo ball soup, I had everything that I felt that I would have at home up at school, which made it feel worth it, to
Mhm.
say the least, to, have spent the time fasting with people who don't normally fast around me.
Mhm.
Um, and then to just be greeted by people that knew what I had gone through throughout the day,
Mhm.
having to go to classes and having to do work all on an empty stomach, to then just be very welcomed and treated as if I was part of the family, which is something that, being your first year away from home during the high holidays, is something you kind of miss, but you don't really realize it till it happens. So this was a very good entry level beginning, for my first high holidays away from home,
Yeah,
and a very good
that's
opportunity for people.
I think that's what a lot of college students are looking for, is just that the feel of home. Um,
Right.
and that just brings a lot of comfort, especially when you're in a new place, and to be surrounded by that is great. And I'm glad
Yeah.
that you found that. Uh,
Yeah.
was When you were looking at colleges as a high school senior, was Jewish life part of your search? Like, were you looking at campuses that had some sort of Jewish population?
Yeah. So when I was looking for schools, I knew exactly what I wanted to study, but I knew I always wanted to have a Jewish community. Growing up in a very Jewish area and having my Jewish identity be a very big part of who I am, I knew I wanted to find a school that was going to accept me and have the opportunity for me to explore my Jewish heritage and grow. So I was looking at schools that are predominantly known to be populated by Jews. We had Michigan, Wisconsin, Florida, Indiana, all of the pretty much known typical schools. But I was kind of looking more so based on where I felt was going to be the most homey and most comfortable versus how many classes would I be able to take that would relate to my Jewish heritage. I wanted to feel that home aspect and comfortable feeling of I will be accepted here.
Mm-hmm. Well, it sounds like you found it, which is
I
good.
did.
Is there anything that you think, you talked a little bit about Chabad. Is there anything you think makes, the Jewish community at Syracuse notable, or anything unique that you think people should know about, whether or not you actually took advantage of it?
So when I think of, how I found people related in my religion and my identity, I kind of just went with people who I found a close connection with kind of within the first couple of weeks, because there were a lot of kind of welcoming committees that had the Jewish opportunities. There was Hillel, there was Chabad, there was Jews at Syracuse. There were different clubs that were just kind of having these greetings and meetings for people to come and get to know each other. And I think that was a really good opportunity to just see who was going to show up. Sometimes you don't want to have to pay attention to those courses or anything, and you kind of want to just go and see who's there and kind of just connect with those people and see where they're from and do the whole Jewish geography thing, because as crazy as it sounds, it's the most, known thing at those schools. And you're going to get to know so many different people who has so many different connections to you simply by just playing that game.
Mm-hmm.
So I would highly recommend going to those welcome week things and those little club meetings and getting information from them, but also seeing who's around you and introducing yourself.
Plus, they usually have free bagels, which is always good.
Yeah, it's always good to have a free bagel.
Yeah, I mean, I think, a lot of times students, especially if you grew up in a very Jewish area, you don't realize how much you'll miss that if it's not
right
in college.
For sure. I mean, I grew up going to Hebrew school twice a week. I'm still very, very close with my best friends from preschool who, we went to services every day. And it was just kind of that feeling that I wasn't going to have that every day or during the week, that kind of outlet. So I wanted to make sure that I found people that would have that connection with me so that I would have that feeling.
Great. Did you encounter or observe or hear about any, sort of anti-Semitic or anti-Israel issues on Syracuse's campus?
So unfortunately, I did. And I didn't realize, growing up in such a small area with a very high Jewish population, that anti-Semitism was still so prevalent in the world. And it wasn't till my senior year in the fall that people started drawing swastikas in the snow or on buildings and, saying there were different sayings spray painted in dorms saying, those dirty Jews or, other terms that are derogatory towards, the Jewish religion. I went 3 years, without having to come across something like that, but I knew there were other schools that had certain situations, and I didn't think that I would ever come across something so vulgar and, hatred and purely disgusting at my own school that I've fallen in love with. But, as I grew up and, being 23 now, being what's going on, in Israel, I know that anti-Semitism is still very much out there. And it's hard to say that because you want to believe the best in people and you want to believe the best in your school as well, because that's supposed to be kind of your safe space and where you're deciding to grow up and figure out your life. But because of the anti-Semitism, you're going to have to overcome, that hatred and the people who are going to be obstacles towards you. You're just going to have to figure out a way to overcome, as Jews have done for so long in the past. It just kind of, history kind of just repeats itself, and it shows how strong of a people we are to turn our backs and say, you know what, there's going to be hatred, there's going to be horrible things said to us, thrown at us, and we're just going to have to figure out a way to get around it and move forward.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sorry that you had to see that, but I think, it is good that you are now aware of it. And I think a lot of, similarly, a lot of students, if they grew up in an area with a lot of Jewish students and not a lot of hate, it's going to be very eye-opening for them. And so I think being prepared, and, some campuses, it's more prevalent than others. And I think the way the administration and other students deal with it can also be a big factor when kids are.
Yeah, that's going to be my biggest piece of advice, is to, unfortunately, be aware that, something is going, there most likely will be something to happen over the course of your 4 years, whether you're down in the South or, you're up north. It could happen anywhere. My advice is to simply just, not accept it, but to be aware about it, and to be your best self, and to keep moving forward, and to stick to your roots, and to just, know what kind of person you are versus, how they're feeling.
That's great. Well, that was my last question, was advice for high schoolers.
Oh, yeah.
It makes us stronger, right?
It does. Every little ounce makes us stronger. Another piece of advice is to know that you're not alone. There's going to be plenty of obstacles in your way. Laura could definitely testify on my behalf that I had absolutely no hope for myself.
Look at everything, your own company.
Yeah, everything will happen when it happens, and it'll happen in time being, and everything will happen in your benefit. You don't think that people are on your side, or that, things will happen the way you want them to, but when they do, it'll be in your benefit, and it'll be better than you expected.
Well, this is great, Jordan. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Everybody who's still watching should go see, tell us your website.
122yearold.com. If you have any social media needs, digital, social, anything, I'm there to help you grow, learn, and better yourself digitally, socially, and emotionally.
And Jewishly.
And Jewishly.
There you go. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you.